You've addressed this on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. You can check that out on cleveland.com as well. What Browns players do you think need to step up in 2023?
There are so many guys, I think, that need to step up. And that was the discussion we had before the podcast. You know, on the offensive side of the ball, like, you can basically name a ton of people. But I'll go with Deshaun Watson first. I mean, obviously he only had 6 games this past year, and you maybe saw flashes of him, but I think he really needs to come out and show he can be as productive as he was during 2020 and in the early years of his career after missing all the time that he did. In terms of his pass catchers, David Njoku, another guy who I think is going to benefit from having Deshaun Watson around him all the time. He only got to play a handful of games with him. He dealt with an ankle injury of his own. As my colleague Mary Kay Cabot likes to say, he could be an 8-touchdown kind of guy, and I think the Browns need that from him in any given season. 8 touchdowns a year. That's an ideal number given the extension they gave him. Defensive side of the ball, Greg Newsome comes to mind. You know, he hasn't really created takeaways. That's something I know that really bothers him. He's still looking for that first career interception. And I think you need those guys to be disruptive in the back end of your defense. And then another guy defensively, I would say, is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You know, we thought he was going to take a big jump after a strong rookie year. I think he showed off his athleticism, his versatility, especially going against the Ravens in October, the way he kind of shadowed Lamar Jackson, created a huge fumble, so he can create takeaways too. But injuries really stopped him this year. And I think he kind of needs to get past that and get back to being available all the time. And then I'll even throw in a special teams guy, because why not? Again, I think there's a lot of guys on this team that need to step up. And I'm going to say Cade York. You know, I still have a lot of faith in Cade York. I've written about him extensively at this point. But Cade's admitted, and I think this was his problem, is that he was overthinking things in terms of his technique as the season went on. And he said, the NFL season is so long that you can't be worried about technique the later the season goes. You kind of have to let your muscle memory take over and trust your process. So I think any of those guys you can make an argument for, they need to take their game to the next level.
Yeah, those were the main ones that I had. And the other one I would say would be Denzel Ward. I think Jim Schwartz, I think his system will play more to the strengths of Denzel Ward.